each other. Through your research, how you explain this topic, please.
I will move to the pulpit to use the PowerPoint facility. Thank you so much, Dr. Saeed, for this excellent introduction, which liberates me of one task, which is justifying why I'm going to talk about language and language-related issues in the context of a symposium that's really about religion. I would, before doing so, I'd like to extend many thanks to everyone involved in organizing this wonderful symposium. So, of course, to Professor Brett Scharfs and to Elizabeth Clark, and all the, not only the organizers and the students and the translators, the interpreters. I must apologize to the translators because I might not say exactly the same things that I've sent into the text, because I got so inspired by discussions and presentations I've attended since yesterday, that it might be a little different. I also would very much like to thank our friend Francesco De Lillo, here present, who's been instrumental in getting us here. So thank you so much. So in this modest contribution to this panel, I would just like to share some rather basic background knowledge about what is conventionally called the Middle East, with a slight focus on the Middle East, because that, after all, is the geographical setting here. I'll try to contextualize some of these facts from the perspective of cultural history, with a special emphasis on language and linguistic identity. It is my contention that these matters, that an understanding of these matters can be useful for a proper understanding of problems of things like politicization of religion, as my wife Isma Jahan has submitted yesterday, in the day before yesterday, actually, in the opening session, and the concept of religious nationalism, which was articulated so eloquently by Professor Jacqueline Neo yesterday. In numerous cases, linguistic identity is, of course, closely linked to ethnic or regional identity, and both can be related, not necessarily, but they can be related to religious identity that we've been talking about so much. Immediately linked to language is script, alphabet, writing systems. And in several cases, the use of a specific script, or I can even say the choice of a specific script, can be understood as a group identity marker, whether ethnic or religious. So in several presentations during this amazing conference, speakers have mentioned the importance of education, particularly the education of young children and teenagers, so primary, secondary school. And no one could possibly disagree with that, but I would like to suggest that higher education at the university level also provides an equally important platform for raising awareness of this diversity, of this pluralism, in all its complexity, not only with regard to religious beliefs and practices, but also with regard to language and ethnicity, which once again have the potential of overlapping with religious group identity. So what I'd like to do here is to share a tiny little bit of the kind of things we've been doing, we've been teaching our students at Louvain, and not only the small numbers of students who actually majored in Oriental studies, but also, and I would say especially, the students who attended more general introductions and whose major disciplines were political science, economics, international relations, religious studies, history, and perhaps even a few law students. Let's just imagine for a moment that we are in a Louvain classroom and have a quick look at this map of the Muslim world. I'm sorry, this map is in French, as you can see, because I used it for teaching at my university there in Belgium. But in the impressively multilingual environment of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I don't think that's a problem. But what you are invited to look at is the colors. In the dark green countries, so to speak, that make up the Arab world, practically all inhabitants speak the Arabic language with its many local varieties or dialects, and read and write its classical or standard variety in Arabic, Lugha al-Arabiyya al-Fusha, which is essentially the same everywhere. This is an impressive fact, actually. From Morocco to Iraq, Yemen, it's one and the same language, a bit like Spanish in Latin America. Most of Latin America, except for Brazil, of course. For most inhabitants, Arabic is their primary native language, but there are also many bilingual communities with different first languages. For a proper understanding of these languages as identity markers, it is crucial to understand that several of these languages predate the arrival of Arabic that started in the 7th century AD with the expansion of Islam. And that even today, many of their speakers are astutely aware of the fact that their language is the original language of their communities, which can be a matter of regional or communal pride in certain cases. But what is less known is that even in the Arabian Peninsula itself, the birthplace of the Arabic language, several ancient Arabian languages and dialects had been spoken for centuries, and some of those had also been written. The most famous case is that of ancient South Arabian, which is a group of Semitic languages in its own right, including Sabaic, and quite distinct from Arabic itself. It survives in about 8,000 monumental inscriptions and in thousands of graffiti, informal writings on rocks in the desert mostly. And it so happens that my university, the Université Catholique de Louvain, boasts one of the oldest traditions worldwide of fieldwork and research on this heritage, thanks to the late Professor Jacques Reekmans and others, now in an exciting project in partnership with the King Abdulaziz Foundation in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, that's this one. Fieldwork in the desert, amazing. And here, a little digression that came to me this morning. This project is but one out of many manifestations of the rapidly growing interest in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the pre-Islamic heritage of the country. This is now very much encouraged by the authorities, which was certainly not always the case. One reason for this is the promotion of tourism, but there is also definitely a desire to create a specific Saudi Arabian national identity, which is no longer based on Islam alone. And incidentally, I would submit that this development is not necessarily unrelated to the issue of religious freedom. Until a few years ago, the entire population was obliged to follow certain rules of conduct in the name of religion, and this is no longer the case. The Mutawa'in, the committee that enforced this conduct, is no longer visible in the streets in Riyadh or Jeddah or other places in the country. This is just to say that religious freedom, in my modest view, is not only a question of minorities, but can also affect an entire population, a majority of the population. But back to language and other regions. So we're moving on to to the areas that became part of the Arab and Muslim world after the expansion of Islam in the 7th century AD. First of all, Aramaic. Aramaic, another Semitic language, was the most widely used language of much of Syria, Palestine, and Mesopotamia before Arabic took over. A few centuries earlier, the very rapid spread of Christianity in the Middle East, one variety of Aramaic called Syriac, had become the main Christian language in the area, gradually taking over from Greek, in which, of course, the New Testament was written originally. And Greek was widely used by the local elites, but far less by the common people who spoke Aramaic. And it's often said that Jesus Christ himself spoke Aramaic. In this context, there is an important fact to keep in mind. Christianity not only originated in the Middle East, as we all know, just like Judaism, of course, but it also spread there very early and rapidly, much earlier than in most parts of Europe and elsewhere. This is an important fact to keep in mind, because our students very often come with this kind of East-West dichotomy, thinking of Christianity as something Western and Islam and other religions as Oriental, but that is not quite accurate. So the Christian communities of Syria, Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Iraq, and southern Turkey are indigenous Christian communities with an ancient tradition reaching back to the very beginning of Christianity. And to this day, several of these communities use classical Syriac as their language of liturgy and religious culture. And some today even still speak a modern variety of Aramaic. So Aramaic is still a living language that you can hear spoken, also in the diaspora, of course, like in Brussels, where I live. When it comes to the choice of script, there is an extensive literature in what is called Kashuni, that is Arabic written in Syriac script. So the language is Arabic, but it's written in the Syriac alphabet. Why? This has been used since the beginning of Arabization until as late as the mid-20th century. So this is often linked to identity. It is considered an identity marker. The Syriac script underlines this Syriac Christian identity. In Egypt, Coptic, the last phase of ancient Egyptian, was the main spoken and written language in late antiquity, but Greek was used as well, mostly for administrative purposes. After the Arab conquest, both languages came to coexist with Arabic. Greek was largely abandoned within a few centuries, but Coptic continued to be used in a bilingual setting with Arabic. But in the long run, it did not survive as a natural spoken language as Aramaic did elsewhere. Today, Coptic functions exclusively as the liturgical language of the Coptic Christians, and for centuries all Egyptians have been Arabic speaking, of course, Muslims as well as Christians, who have gradually become a minority, and also the Jewish communities. The only exceptions, so everyone in Egypt is Arabic speaking, the only exceptions are ethnic and linguistic minorities, but who are all Muslims, so there's no religious distinction there, who speak Berber in the Siwa oasis near the Libyan border, or Nubian, or Beja, less known, but quite a sizable community in the east near the Red Sea. All these minorities are Muslims, as I said, and they all speak Arabic as well. Everybody is bilingual. Unlike the Kashuni of the Syrian Christians, the Coptic alphabet was never used for writing Arabic. And Arabic, or almost never, there's one exception or two. Arabic texts written by Coptic Christians are simply written in the Arabic script. So this is a Christian text. This is Christian history, official history of the Coptic Church. Nevertheless, there is a fair amount of bilingual Coptic Arabic biblical manuscripts, most of which were written down in an environment where Arabic was the natural language used by everybody and Coptic the language of liturgy. Further west, in North Africa, the linguistic evolution was rather different. At the time of the Arab conquest, virtually the entire population was Berber-speaking and mostly followed Western Roman Catholic Christianity. But Islamization was fast and more complete here than in the East. Within just a few generations, Islam was adopted by everyone except by the Jewish communities, which were left in peace to practice Judaism. With regard to language, however, Arabization was slow and remained incomplete. Even though the overall majority now speaks Arabic, various Berber languages are still very much alive. As you can see on this slide, there are various languages. I won't go into these details, but it's just to show how diverse the Berber language itself is. By the way, it is Berber speakers usually don't like to be called Berbers. They rather use the term Amaziren, which means free people, and the language is Tamazight. So it's just a habit to call it Berber, but Tamazight would be more accurate. In terms of script, since the ancient Libico-Berber, the ancient Libico-Berber's alphabet had died out already in the Roman and Byzantine periods, the obvious choice Berbers had, or Imaziran had, for writing their language in the new context of bilingualism was Arabic script, of course, used for writing Arabic itself. So this is Arabic, written in its own Maghribi style. Not much is known about Berber writing practices in the first centuries of Islam, but Berber texts in Arabic script are attested since the 12th century AD and on a larger scale from the 16th century onwards. In very recent times, since the late 20th century, just about 30, 40 years ago, a later development of the ancient Berber script called Tifinagh, now this is Berber, sorry, one behind. So this is Berber written in Arabic script. But this Tifinagh script has seen a true revival in, so this is modern, in Algeria and in Morocco, where it's mostly used for the rather symbolic promotion of the Berber languages. As you can see here, you see Arabic, you see Berber, and you see French. But the Berber language, or Tamazight language, is also often written in Latin script for practical purposes. But this Tamazight script is very visible in Morocco nowadays. Finally, let's say a few words of the Jewish inhabitants of the Arab world, for whom Hebrew was the language of worship, but Arabic the everyday medium of communication. This situation prompted the rise of what is called Judeo-Arabic, that is, Arabic written in the Hebrew alphabet and often containing numerous Hebrew and Aramaic words. So this text, it looks like Hebrew, but it's actually Arabic, except for some Hebrew words. The first line is Hebrew, actually. To be sure, the subject matter was not always religious. This corpus of Judeo-Arabic comprises tens of thousands of precious documents, letters, contracts, and deeds that allow for the reconstructions of many facets of the social and economic fabric of the medieval Middle East. A colleague of mine who's a specialist in Judeo-Arabic recently made the important point that in the medieval period, for several centuries, the majority of Jewish people worldwide were actually Arabic speaking. This is a fact often overlooked. Now, it is well known that the Arabic language and its script are, of course, intimately linked to Islam as a religion and a culture. Not only a religion, also a whole Islamic culture. Indeed, the Arabic language has the special function of carrying a sacred text. Verses or entire passages of the Holy Quran are read, recited in prayer, or quoted in manifold ways by millions of Muslims around the world on a daily basis. And also, and now we're getting a little bit outside the Arab world, in the, let's say, the medium light green countries on this map. And this is all this prayer, all this religious practice is always done in Arabic, a central, So this attachment to a sacred language is stronger in, I would venture to say, in Judaism and in Islam than in Christianity, where you have a diversity of languages that have this. There's a lot of translation, of course, in Christianity. So, indeed, the Arabic language is used by Muslims in many places outside the Arab world, and this applies to almost all Muslim denominations, both inside and outside the Arab world. So, whether Sunna or Shia, and with all its subdivisions, Arabic is really central. Over the centuries, the spread of Islam far outside the Arab world has given rise to the development of Islamic religious writing in a large number of languages used in Africa, in Southeastern Europe, in Central Asia, in the Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asia, and even parts of China. The point here is that in many of such cases, people have not only adopted a large number of Arabic words, but have also chosen the Arabic script as their preferred vehicle of writing, and often not only for religious topics, but also for more secular ones. For example, the Arabic script gradually became the standard writing for Ottoman Turkish, and for the Indo-European languages of present-day Iran, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, and other parts of Central Asia. The most prominent of these languages is, of course, Persian, but the same applies also to Urdu, the language of the Muslim communities in India and the national language of Pakistan. The Arabic script also reached Southeast Asia, present-day Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei, where it was used for centuries besides other scripts, writing systems such as the Javanese script, which has not totally disappeared, as you can see here on the wall of the Islamic University in Yogyakarta, where I had the pleasure of teaching for a few years ago. As for West, Central, and East Africa, languages such as Hausa and Swahili and many others were hardly written at or not at all before Muslim started to write in them, and quite naturally turned to the Arabic alphabet to do so. So, to sum up, the history and the present of the languages and scripts of the Muslim world are immensely rich and full of highly interesting phenomena of cultural transformation and diversity in terms of religion as well as ethnicity and language. Understanding such cultural complexities of the Muslim world, and indeed of the world in general, might be useful at the background for dealing with important issues of religious pluralism and peace. Thank you very much for your kind attention and patience.
Thank you very much, Professor Johannes. I'm sure there are so many questions, and my apologies for not translating the previous hadith. إنما العربي فإنما العربي لسان فمن تكلم بالعربي فهو عربي. It means like the Arabic language is a language. Anyone speak in this language, he consider Arab. So it was a hadith, but not proven as a hadith in the hadith books. But anyway, it was really important. Thank you, Professor Johannes. And I think this is the basic tool to understand each other. Without understanding each other, nothing will move forward in peace and harmony. Now we came to Miss Florin Seudin. He is a human rights activist since 1999. She has worked with different UN agencies, as well as in the private and public sectors. She is the head of the Ethnic and Religious Component Department for the Presidency of the Kurdistan region. Ms. Seudin worked in an advisory role during the United Nations country assessment of Iraq's status on gender, justice, and law. She also advised on the role of women in the Kurdistan region government's economic plan. She was awarded the Certificate of Parliament of Kurdistan as a women's rights protector in 2018. She also received the Human Rights Defender Award from Heartline Alliance International in 2018 for her contribution to the protection and promotion of human rights in Iraq, for her work in encouraging peaceful communication between various religions and civilizations across the world, as well as in cultivating the ideals of love and coexistence. She was given the Minorities Rights Defender Award by the International Council of Religion and Humanitarian Communications. Congratulations on all these. And now, floor is yours if you explore what mechanism the government of Kurdistan have for the protection of religion and ethnic minorities. Please.
Thank you. Impressive panel from Professor Johannes. I wish it was a translation of Aramaic, so Aramaic is my mother tongue to present for you in Aramaic, but I will shift to English, of course. Good day, everyone. Shalom aleichem, Rosh Tambash. It's a pleasure to be here today to participate in the 31st Annual International Law and Religion Symposium and present you some of the facts and realities about status of minorities, ethno-religious minorities in our region as Kurdistan region and Iraq. History shows that the land of Iraq and the Kurdistan region are the cradle of many religions and beliefs. They represent a center of ethnic, national, and cultural diversity that has enriched the world, making them one of its most significant and enduring treasures that continue to succeed till today. From this land, the first alphabet was founded, and its waters baptized the first human laws and statutes. It became the birthplace of many other sciences that shaped the future of humanity, guiding the world steadily towards the horizon of hope. The human who lived on this earth, I mean Iraq or that area, and developed its civilization in days when today's civilized nations were living in complete darkness, and some of them had not even been exist or born. This individual has suffered and continues to suffer from regional and internal challenges, as well as intellectual, religious, and philosophical issues that undermine his body and deplete his strength. Wars that have been strategically planned and financed with substantial amounts of money will not cease, nor will the sound of deadly guns or the extremist voices that seek to assassinate thoughts, dreams, hopes, and civilization. Only when those forces are confronted with a strategy and policy focused on building peace, based on respect for humanity and its diverse differences, can we hope to prevail. These differences evoke societies, support their growth, and fuel their civilizational development. The process of building peace is not an easy one, as conflicts are often not ignited solely to eliminate humanity. Physically, human beings will continue to exist and multiply. Instead, these operations are directed and planned to create fragile and unstable environments, aiming to undermine stability in every area sought by a civilized society. I'll present you some of the mechanisms that Kurdistan region has been taken over the past 3 decades. As you know, Iraq as a country has 2 governments, federal government and Kurdistan region government with 2 parliaments, Iraqi parliament, Council of Representatives, and also Kurdistan region parliament. So in Kurdistan region, we can legislate, amend, or change laws not different from the other part of Iraq. We have the most important law, law number 5 in 2015, which is law on protection of the rights of components in Kurdistan region, which is a law recognizing religious components in addition to Muslims as a religion. We have Christians, Yazidis, Sabi Amandais, Kakais, Zoroastrians, Baha'is, and Jewish recognized and have their representative in ministry Government, Ministry of Religious and Endowment Affairs. In addition to those, we have also in the same law recognizing who are the ethnic communities or minorities. We have, in addition to Kurds and Arabs, we have Turkmens, Assyrian, Chaldean, Syriacs, and Armenian as ethnic minorities in the region. The other important law is law number 6 of 2014, which is law on official languages in the Kurdistan region, that recognizing official languages in the country, in addition to Arabic and Kurdish as former languages, English is global. The law recognizes Assyrian or Syriac language, Armenian and Turkmen as well as official languages in the country or in the region. Based on that law, we have departments for Syriac and Turkmen affairs, study affairs in Ministry of Education, and under those two departments we have schools. All the curriculum is in their mother language, that's Assyrian, Syriac language, or Turkmen language. We have Department of Ethnic and Religious Components Affairs that I'm heading it in President's Office of Kurdistan Region. This department established in 2022 and marked a significant milestone in ensuring representation for all minorities communities in the region. The department pay attention to defend and follow up all issues related to the rights, freedoms, and constitutional and legal benefits of ethno-religious communities of the Kurdistan region in regulation, laws, and constitution on a higher level. It's also worth to mention here that all religions practice their rituals, religious ceremonies, rites, worships in a peaceful environment that is free from any restrictions. Correspondingly, all major religious celebrations such as Eid, Christmas, Easter, New Year, Yazidi New Year, Assyrian New Year are all considered official public holidays throughout the region for all. The world recognized this achievement despite the ongoing challenges and the transformation of the region surrounding this small, young region into a ring of fire, with ethnic and religious minorities being the first victims. This was lately observed when ISIS attacks the region and the country, the attacks results in the places that they are religious minorities exist, such as Shingal, Nineveh Plains, and Mosul, now affected mostly on Yazidis and Christians. And the whole world knows what happened to Yazidis, especially the women abducted in the hands of ISIS and the children. Many countries known for their ethnic and religious diversity have been uniform in color and thought. This has drawn global attention to the issue of ethnic diversity. As many ethnicities and stable communities are facing extinction every day, or month or year, this extinction threatens global diversity and peace rooted in respect for the existence of differences among people, differences that should not be misinterpreted as tense disputes. We have, as an example, Mosul area. You know that Mosul, before ISIS, there were 50,000 Christians living in it. Nowadays, you cannot even see 60 homes only in Mosul, which is in less than, or let's say, mostly 10 years after ISIS. As the world makes fast progress in sustainable development across various aspects of life, conflict and instability continue to be major obstacles undermining the foundation of these international initiatives. The United Nations Charter stated that the UN was established to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war. Unfortunately, over 250 armed conflicts have arisen since the signing of this charter in 1946. Simultaneously, Sustainable Development Goal number 16 which is establishing justice, peaceful, and inclusive societies, calls on member states to promote peaceful coexistence among people. Some of its primary objectives include reducing the flow of weapons, combating organized crime, and decreasing all forms of violence worldwide. Global statistics are alarming, with 600 million young people living in troubled and conflict-prone areas. These youth are affected by various levels of violence, including political violence, organized crime, and terrorist attacks, leading to humanitarian, social, and economic costs and crises. In addition, Iraq is considered one of the younger countries, with the percentage of youth in 2023, if we take into consideration, reaching 28% of its total population, estimated by the Iraqi Ministry of Planning to be over 43 million people as population of Iraq. I got this information percentage from 18 to 35 years old. The impact of these conflicts on such young and fragile societies, which have either recently emerged or are still engulfed in conflicts, poses significant challenges for the world and for humanitarian and international institutions. This picture of reality of Iraq places the world, humanitarian and international institutions before great challenges, which require more serious work, more time, more plans and strategies that are consistent and with humanitarian values and international charters and treaties that the country have been applied for. In conclusion, I extend my gratitude to the International Center for Law and Religion Studies at BYU University, as well as their amazing team with the Friends in Sterling Foundation as well, with which they make me they made me to be here to participate in this important topic and in this important symposium. Thank you, Basima Raba.
Thank you very much, Ms. Florin. Yeah, it's really important. When I was at Kabul University, I had students from Nuristan province, very remote, different language, different even school of thought. And he was feeling alone. I encouraged students to be engaged with him. And I talked with him, why you are feeling alone? And he told me one very deep sentence. He told me, you will not understand me unless you become a minority. I didn't understand that. But when I came to US, I understand that. And I was teaching here, I was working here, but I have to pray as a Muslim 2 times during the day. And I couldn't find a place to pray. And then I went to colleagues until I have to pray like in afternoon and late afternoon. And she told me like, what time exactly you need? And what do you need? I said, I need place and I need kind of, okay, washroom is everywhere I can. And she told me, okay, tomorrow we will talk. And next day, she walked with me in a library, and on the door, it was written, this room is allocated to Professor Saeed from 2 to 4:30, because 2 times of prayers covered in this time. And beside washroom. And it was announcement that no one can reserve this room. I was thinking, yes, I am in the right place. I'm not minority anymore. So this was the feeling. And thank you for your great work helping minorities and providing them and supporting them. Now we come to another great scope of work in a very dynamic area. Mr. Mohamed Elamin, he is the programs director at Muslim Council of Elders, a well-known organization based in the United Arab Emirates. As part of his role, he focuses on empowering youth by providing them with the knowledge, tool, and techniques needed to advance peace in their communities. He is particularly involved with the initiative like the Emerging Peacemakers Forum, which bring together young leaders from different religious and cultural backgrounds to promote coexistence, tolerance, and harmony. Through his leadership, the Muslim Council of Elders seeks to foster interfaith dialogue and tackle extremism, always aiming for sustainable peace across diverse communities. Please, Mr. Mohamed, floor is yours.
Thank you. Just one moment.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah.
I did. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Lutforahman, for introducing me to our guests. And thank you, Dr. Johannes and Florin, for your amazing presentations. Indeed, if you are like me, you will feel it is very hard to speak last in a panel. And especially after Dr. Johannes and Florin, you just made my job harder than it was like 30 minutes ago. So God help me. Okay. I also would like to thank BYU for giving us this amazing chance and for their hospitality and bringing us together here to discuss such important thing like interfaith dialogue. Again, to remind you, my name is Mohamed Elamin, and I am from Muslim Council of Elders. And today my presentation will be about our work in interfaith dialogue. It is a journey, actually. And why we call it a journey? Because since we have started our work in interfaith dialogue, it took us from one place to different places, through different paths, through different faiths. We even didn't know they are existed until we know them. So let's start with the table of content. I will give a little bit introduction about our organization, Muslim Council of Elders, then a little bit of some of our initiatives in interfaith dialogue. And then I will be speaking about something you might find that it is interesting a little bit, which is the ladder of interfaith dialogue from practical point of view. And then the conclusion, of course. So from where to start? Actually, I would like to start from the name itself, Muslim Council of Elders, or Majlis Hukama al-Muslimin. Majlis is the Arabic term for council, but indeed, in the Arabic culture, Majlis is not only a translated term of council, but it has deeper meaning. It has traditions in the Arabic culture. It is a place where people, elder people or wise people, come together, to sit together, to discuss life matter, to discuss their the tribes' issues and challenges. It was inspiring in the Arabic culture how they were able to lead the tribes through such majlis or council. Muslim Council of Elders, or MCE, was established in 2014 in Abu Dhabi. Now we have our headquarters is in Abu Dhabi, UAE, but we have 5 different offices. We have in Kazakhstan for Central Asia, we have in Malaysia, Indonesia, Cairo, and Pakistan as well. We are chaired by His Eminence Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Professor Ahmad al-Tayyib. So in the next slides, I will be speaking about some of our initiatives when it comes to the interfaith dialogue. One of them is the East-West dialogue, or the dialogue between East and West. This initiative is a series of intellectual debates between influential leaders from individuals from East and the West. MCE, with its partners, gathers a group of intellectuals from different areas and discuss recent issues that face humanity, such as climate change. So far, we have done around 7 rounds of these debates from in different cities around the world, in London, Rome, Florence, Manama, Abu Dhabi, Cairo, and so on. And we have also a group of partners who have been helping us, such as the Catholic Church, the World Council of the Churches, and the Church of England. Another initiative, which is really a great initiative, is the Faith Pavilion at COP28. May I ask you if you ever visited the Faith Pavilion at COP28? Anyone went there? Okay, of course, Doctor. So for the first time in the history of COP, Muslim Council of Elders hosted a pavilion that dedicated to faith. This initiative was in cooperation with the United Nations and the Ministry of Tolerance and Coexistence in UAE and the Presidency of COP28. It was a successful initiative, and it aimed to provide a global platform for exchange perspective regarding the faith and climate action. Over a course of 10 days, we have hosted 320 speakers representing 54 countries and 9 religions. And we will also continue to have the Faith Pavilion in Baku in COP29. So if you have the chance to visit Baku during the COP, please visit us. We will be in the Blue Zone. And hopefully also COP30 in Brazil. Emerging Peacemaker Forum. Indeed, Muslim Council of Elders doesn't only work with the high-level organizations or high-level people, but also we work with the grassroots level. Through Emerging Peacemaker Forum, we aim to have leaders from younger generations to lead the efforts to make peace. And we have done so far 2 rounds of Emerging Peacemaker Forum. The first one, it was in London, 2018, with the Church of Canterbury and Rose Castle Foundation. And last one, the second edition, it was in Geneva, July 2023. We aim for the third one to be in 2025, next year. And our alumni in Emerging Peacemaker Forum comes from 25 different countries around the world. And due to time limitation, I will not have time to explore all of our initiatives. But feel free to scan the QR code if you would like to join, if you would like to visit our website. Okay, moving forward. The ladder of interfaith dialogue. I will be speaking about ladder of interfaith dialogue from a practical point of view, not a scientific or academic point of view, because we gather this theory through our work. We noticed that interfaith dialogue is not only a single action, but it is a series of action steps. It is a process, not only one action like let's sit together and we have dialogue. It doesn't go like that. And actually, when we look to the goal of interfaith dialogue, we can say that the goal is to level up from a lower level into the highest possible level, a lower level of knowing each other, of understanding each other, to the highest possible level of knowing each other, understanding each other, and may also be working with each other. So that's why we call it ladder, because it levels up from lower level into highest possible level. Steps. Actually, interfaith dialogue requires a courage to step in. It doesn't come when you are just sitting in your office and that's it, but it requires to step in and take actions. So how we start the interfaith dialogue through the ladder? We start with the desire. Desire comes as a result of our motivation. Maybe it just comes as a curiosity to know each other. You may hear about a religion that you want to explore, or you want to talk with their leaders. So it is really a desire that motivates you to step in. Then desire pushes us to approach each other, to communicate with each other. Through this communication, we can declare that we are interested to talk to each other, and we are ready to do that. Then it comes the interaction, which is the heart of the interfaith dialogue. Through interaction, we exchange point of views, we know each other, and also we know our common goals, and we keep interact until, even if we don't know our goals, we keep interact until we reach to our common goals.